This is Roger Struckoff with Syscon TV. We're in the third and final day of Cloud Expo East in New York, and once again, we're joined by Brendan O'Brien with Aria Systems. This is the voice in the wilderness for the last few years. We had you on a studio thing last year, I think, and we talked about it, and before that, and since then, monetization and the Internet of Things. General topic. Welcome. Let's talk about that. Talk about your pioneer years, but it sounds like people are finally starting to listen.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely true. I'm feeling the critical mass. It's no longer me jumping up and down on a table trying to get people to pay attention to this, but as I think people's IoT plans start to firm up, they are finally starting to turn their attention to how I'm going to make money off of this thing, and what are the things I need to concern myself with. Aria is not the only people talking about it right now, but I'm just glad people are paying attention, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I've seen the word monetization on people's shirts on other companies, and it's been a topic of a power panel that we had. Do you think this is because people most people are fairly intelligent, I think, at least in this business. Do they get along the path when they kind of have this revelation they need to be thinking about monetization, or they think going in that it's not an issue? I mean, when's the kind of eureka moment come? Because at Aria in general, and you in particular, had this moment a long time ago.
Yeah, I think honestly that a lot of IoT projects and a lot of enterprises have been treated like skunkworks for a while, and I think that we've finally started to cross that threshold where they're considered to be a critical part of an enterprise's strategy. And once you cross that threshold, guess what? A lot of people start paying attention. The business users start paying attention. It's no longer just a technologist kind of doing what they want. And once the business starts to pay attention, of course, they're concerned about how they're going to make money in a sustainable way.
Now that you have people's attention, what does your company do to address the issue?
Well, my big theme, first and foremost, and it dovetails nicely with what IoT is all about and what big data is all about, is that usage and consumption data, that flood of data that's coming out of those IoT devices. That's your key, because that data gives you both the ability, the latitude to produce line items on a bill that are driven by how somebody uses a service, but even more importantly, it gives you insight into your customer base and provides the analytics required to then provide agility to moving very quickly in a tight market. Because the reason we're talking about IoT is not because some great new technology was developed, but because lots of existing technologies have become commoditizable and accessible and ubiquitous, and as a result, that means we're looking at the most competitive environment for all of these various markets that any of us have ever seen. Whether you're talking about medical, connected car, wearables, home security, home automation, these are all industries that are going to be in a fast and agile and highly competitive market. And if you're going to be that competitive, number one is customer insight, or you're not going to retain those customers easily.
Well, as a customer insight, you got a couple of dimensions, I think. One is finding them, figuring out who they are, and then the idea of monetization and of sort of revenue streams. To what degree are we looking at the service itself, and then the data that's being collected that can be mined for additional revenue?
Well, we're in the age of services, right? And then this whole everything as a service, as you and I were discussing the other day, has come inside the firewall. It's no longer reaching out for things as a service outside my firewall exclusively. Obviously includes that, but even internal systems are designed with that as a service component baked in, right? It's a fundamental design principle that's in and out of the firewall now. And as such, that means that anybody who has a service, including Aria, monetization as a service, the benefit to the acquirer of a service like that is it decouples easily if it doesn't work out well, but what it puts on us is the same pressure I'm talking about for them, which is I need to have the ability to keep my service very attractive to you, to be able to pivot on a dime. If you tell me that your market's suddenly demanding this very, very complex structure, I got to make sure I have a system that delivers it, or you're going to decouple me and plug somebody else into that service pretty easily. So.
What are the main reasons people should be talking to your company? Then, besides your deep knowledge and the fact you've been talking about it for a while, what really benefits are they going to get from talking to Aria Systems?
The primary benefit is they would get a platform that allows them to take engineering resources out of the act of pricing and packaging their products, right? Once you've developed your core system, your core product, your core services, pricing and packaging is an act that should be, in our belief, solely in the hands of the line of business users. Engineering should not be be a required component in changing a price point from $17.95 for all-you-can-eat buffet to $10.95 for 1,000 units with overage after that. That should be something a business user can do on their own, but historically, with legacy systems, this is an engineering exercise, and engineering exercises are costly and they take a lot of time. And those are the number one and number two things that are going to be depressors on your ability to be agile, right? So if you want to be agile, you got to take it out of engineering's hands and put it in the LOB's hands.
I've been hearing the buffet analogy all week long, and as long as people don't try to kill the real buffets, the food, I'm good with. I'm good with it. How do people find you? What's the URL?
It's ariasystems.com, ariasystems.com.
Can't beat that, ariasystems.com. We've been sitting here for a few minutes with Brendan O'Brien from that very company here at Cloud Expo. Thanks again for joining us again, and thanks for watching. For Syscon TV, this is Roger Struckoff.